Hey guys, and welcome to another Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 151, and this was a doozy, so let's crack down to it, shall we? Okay, so I want to first off talk about that. The first half of this chapter was pretty much continuing off where 151 left off, and where we see the opening panels of them talking about that they're not letting Azami in, and Erena's still in shock that Cyber Jorichro is Soma's father and everything, and then it cuts back to the end panel where last week it ends, but this time it ends with that panel of him saying is my dad, and then it cuts to Erena shocked with a much more detailed look of the face that she does on the panel where Soma goes, is my dad. Then Azami goes, what do you mean by that? Soma thus continues going, I'm not hiding anything. It's just that you are more an acquaintance to his dad and everything. And one of the Aldini brothers go, Saba, who's that? One of them just Yuki, I think it was? Yeah, I think it's Yuki. Shows a picture of Soma and his dad. And then Erena's just sweating, shocked, and shocked that Soma is the chef she admires' son. And it's just shocked that she's seeing a photo of him with Soma. So that, to show him that kind of proof is really... I predicted that. Last chapter, I predicted that so one of the members of the Polar Stardom is going to show a photo of Jorichro with Soma to clarify that they are relatives. And now she's torn, realised that she'd been treating her chef she admires, Jorichro's son, like shit. Like, lying about his food not being good, even though his food tastes just as good as Jorichro's. Well, not as good, but as much, because of Soma being trained by Jorichro on the way of cooking, and she's saying it wasn't as good and everything. But the fact that, by the looks of things, we even noticed that since we learned that she had a picture of the chef she admired that turned out to be Soma's dad, and now this just rallies up much more. Now this brings up to Azami saying, is this a coincidence that Soma's also in the same year as his daughter? Then he asks Erena if she knew about Cyber Senpai, and she just goes wondering that he knew, and then he goes, I understand. So this whole panel next is pretty much a little bit more contradictory, because this is going to be a long chapter, because I will be quoting a lot of this chapter as well, a lot of the early pages, and discussing these pages as well, a little bit more in depth this chapter, because this is really by far one of my favourite chapters, because a lot of things has been going on here, and this is just the first part of it on its own, and it goes with Azami going, so it looks like that. Well, now I wonder how much of this is a coincidence and how much of this is set up. Because it's curious, because he goes, how much of it is a coincidence and how much it is a setup. And someone goes, what are you mumbling about? And anyhow, let me just say this. We're going to be a huge pain in the ass of your revolution. You're going to tell me you don't care or something? Oh, and then Azami goes, I care. A great deal, Yukihiro-sama. All of the catalytic changes I will bring to Tsuki, all of it is to bring salvation to the rotten culinary road that ruined. So, by the looks of things, Azami admires Jorichro so damn high that he thinks he's doing what he's doing in the culinary world because he thinks what the current culinary world's done something to Jorichro. But that might be one of these, yet again, this brings up another trope. He is misunderstanding something, and it's Jorichro that chose to go the way he's went with his cooking, because the way he's gone with his cooking is the way that he taught Soma, and the way where Jorichro is cooking now is pretty much how Soma cooks. And he probably chose that when he probably married Soma's mother. Maybe it was Soma's mother that made Jorichro go the way he is, and it was Jorichro that chose it that way. And Azami is just mistaking it as a wrong thing. But it is a big question. How did the current culinary world ruin Jorichro? and how is his plan going to make him happy? Because he even mentions that what he's doing might end up making Jorichro happy. But at the same time, now that his son's in there, and his son's much more his pride of joy of having those family cook-offs that they have each time and everything, what Soma do might not make him happy, because the old woman, I can't remember her name, it literally escapes me, and yet this is one of my favourite chapters and the character's name escapes me, says that it's more for revenge. So there's still a lot of more hidden deep meaning, and this is just this first half of the chapter is all condensed a little bit into this, and it just tells us less about what's happening but the plan. It keeps on going on about how much of this is a coincidence and how much of this is a setup, of this is the narration, and what in the world happened between my dad and Nakamura senpai. At least now I know. Because it goes then, a man known as Cyber Jorichro lies at the centre of all this. So we will get to gain all the answers now. Jorichro needs to show up at some point in a next chapter or some chapters during this arc for some of these questions and ideals to be answered. Same with Gin. He has to show up as well, because the last time we saw Jorichro and Gin were at the same place and going to the airport once they learned about Erina's grandfather not being the head and Azami taking over. So what's going to happen now is that those two need to show up so they can answer a lot of these questions, because I think Soma and Erina needs to know a lot of these questions, because if Erina knows the truth, she might not even decide to go back yet, because at the moment Azami still thinks Erina will return to him, even though at this point in time, and if Jorichro comes back at some point and explains a lot of things, it literally is going to bring back a little bit more in depth of what's going to be happening. Following up there, we then get into the next part of this chapter, the second half of this act in this chapter, is where we found that Ishiki, Tsuke, and Terunori are all released from their seats, and she realised that it was going to happen, that 3 of the seats, the Elite 10 is going to be losing their seats, and he was going to end up being one of them. So he's surprised that Rita was against it, but it was unavoidable because he realised that. And he keeps on saying that he still thinks Erina's going to return to him because of his tight leash of that training he did when she was younger. It's going to still be here so she can rally it up a little bit more. While the other Elite 10 members rally up and then start doing this whole wearing these badges for this Survivor's Son. Now this Survivor's Son, I want to know what's going to happen in this Survivor's Son. It definitely seems like it's part of Azami's plan of his revolution into Sutsuki Kame and his start of revolutionizing the culinary world. But at the same time, it just seems that this is going to be the Survivor's Son that's going to try and get the 3 new Elite 10 members and getting them onto the boards so that they can think, oh, the Survivor Hunt is to shut down the rest of the research facilities and all those other clubs that are at the moment being run and still active at the moment and just facing Shokugeki, because Azami is still allowing that to happen for them to, if they win, they get to stay, if they lose, they get shut down. So that's still happening. But this surviving here is either for the members that were selected to be the next Elite 10 members and everything, and it's just now going further on to into the point where they're going to show off of what's going to happen next. But other than that, this was yet again another fun chapter, another great chapter from Shokugeki no Soma, and a lot of things that I've explained, because this is going to be one of my longest reviews, because it is a lot of in-depth detail. But like I said, this is one of my favourite chapters. Yet again, it is great. It was a great follow-up from last week's. But you, like always, comment down below what you think is the reason Jorichro is all tied up into this little thing, and what his side of the story is, and if Azami is just doing this for revenge or something. And like I mentioned before, is this just Azami's misunderstanding of what's gone on, what happened to Jorichro? And is it all because when Jorichro married Soma's mother, he decided to go the cooking way, that he went and actually saw the better side of cooking? All that and more. Just comment down below what you think and tell me. Did you like what some of the discussion I brought up? Also comment down below. But other than that, this was another fun chapter of Shokugeki no Soma. Hopefully you enjoyed. So like the video if you enjoyed it. And please subscribe if you want to see more Shokugeki no Soma chapter reviews. Other than that, see you next time. Bye bye for now. See ya.